What's up, Monero fam and OP fam? I should truly say I am Matt.
I'm chill. You're
Uh,
not. No.
hey, we're just having our coffee. We're getting our gratuitous coffee going here, so we're still waiting for it to sink in. But no worries. This is our second or third episode of Private Parts.
Third.
Third. Okay, third. Uh, and yeah, welcome back. Today we're going to be taking a look at Whonix. And before we jump into that, I know Chill, you've got a few things to say, just kind of giving some background and some context about like what the heck Whonix is.
Yeah, I prepared a little presidential speech. Just kidding. So Whonix, like Tails, Whonix protects your anonymity by using Tor system to hide your IP. So while you are protected by the Linux instance, unlike Tails, Whonix runs a virtual machine, actually two virtual machines. One virtual machine runs the operating system and the browser, which is called the Workstation. And the other virtual machine is responsible for running Tor and acts as a gateway to the internet. So the fact that you have the Workstation isolated from the internet and can only access the internet through the Tor network, it's impossible for your IP address to leak. The other big difference between Whonix and Tails is that Whonix is not meant to be amnestic, meaning the system will retain some traces of forensic history on the host operating system, unlike Tails, which is kind of like when you clean up with bleach after you dispose the dead body. No, just me? Okay. Okay, so
I have some questions about that, but we'll come back to that.
Okay, so some of the pros. So the isolation of the Workstation from the network is a huge advantage. So you're keeping your IP address private. Even if your browser or any other application in the Workstation is fully compromised, it's impossible to reveal your IP because it doesn't know your IP in the first place. So persistence means that you can run whatever you want in the Workstation and you can update the programs as soon as the updates become available. Some of the cons are that it's a little bit more complicated to set up, but we have Session Man who will help you and guide you through that. And it has a high system requirement. So with Tails, Tails can run on any vegetable with the screen. But Whonix needs a hardware that supports, good graphics cards, lots of RAM, etc. So, and obviously, like I said before, persistence also means that, some of the traces of the data that you use can be discovered. But I mean, this is the threat model. I always say, and this is my personal opinion, but I always say that, if your threat model is hiding from hackers and, mass surveillance, then it's beautiful. I think you cannot really achieve anything higher than that, because as soon as you interact with someone with a low privacy threat model, their computer and their devices will start scooping up your data and leaking.
Mm-hmm. Yep, for sure. And yeah, so no, it's a great operating system. I was messing around with it just yesterday, preparing for this video, and it's a little more technically challenging to get up and running, I think, than I was expecting. Eventually I got it running. So yeah, I'll take you through that. And our goal is that your mother can do it. I know, it's a little technical, but just stay with me, follow through. If you have any questions, we'll take care of it. Oh, Chill, I can't hear you. What did you say?
I don't think your mother can do this one, but I think you have a smart mommy.
Right. My mom is like a computer science professor at university. Maybe not, but anyway, I don't want to prejudge it too much. Let's just get into it. I'm going to share my screen here, and boom. Okay, Chill. Can you see this? Yes.
Yes, sir.
Awesome. Okay. So so for the installation guide that I'm following, I mean, there are plenty of guides out there that help you walk you through installing Whonix. I prefer to start with like the official documentation, which the people creating the software put out. So what I did was I went to whonix.org. This is their landing page, and if you go to the wiki up here at the top, and actually let me zoom in a bit. There we go. This is their landing page, whonix.org. Go to the wiki, and we've got the documentation here. They give you the overview, the first steps, all of this stuff. And if you keep scrolling down, let's see here. Nope, I missed it because the screen is gigantic and I can't see where I clicked the last time. Is it this one? Okay. So I was actually wrong. You don't go to the wiki. You just want to go to download up here. And then if you scroll down, we'll see we've got a bunch of different download options. If you're on Windows, Linux, Mac, cubes, and then I guess there's some advanced versions. I didn't really mess around with the advanced stuff. I just kind of went for like the basic install that a lot of people do. I'm on Linux today, so I'm going to get the VirtualBox for Linux. So just click on VirtualBox, and it takes me here. And I get two options. I can do Whonix with XFCE, which is recommended for beginners, or you can do Whonix with the CLI, which is just the text terminal. I like the graphical interface, so I'm going to do the XFCE. For most people, this is probably what you want to do. It's pretty cool because it gives you like a virtual computer inside your computer. Yeah, it's nice and much more secure, and you can do lots of cool things with it. But it's like, yeah, it's just like an operating system on top of your operating system or inside your operating system is kind of how I was thinking of it. So Whonix with XFCE, we'll click on that. And now we're on that page here that we had started on, and it's got our guide on how to install it. Just like a warning for you, this guide is not, in my opinion, is not the greatest. There's like some confusing bits, so I will do my best to explain them as we go through it. But obviously, step number one is going to be download Whonix. We're going to get it for Mac. I'm sorry, not for Mac. We're going to get it for Linux. I guess it's the same. It's just like a OVA file. So we're going to save this file into my folder here. Let it start downloading. The file's about 2 gigabytes. So if you're on a slower connection, it could take a little bit. While that's downloading, we can come here and take a look at the next step. So the next stop is going to be to install VirtualBox. If you are on if you're on Linux and like what's the current one? We're on like 20.04 or on Ubuntu. I think VirtualBox should already be installed. If you're on Windows or Mac, though, there's a little link here to download VirtualBox. And then obviously you're going to need to install that. But I'm pretty sure for Linux, we're already good. And the recommended version here obviously is 6.1.26. Let's see. Okay, so if you're on Linux and you want to get VirtualBox, you're just going to need to open up a terminal. And I just pulled this page up here. And you're going to want to enter these commands into the terminal sudo apt get an update, just make sure everything is up to date. And then after that, you can do sudo apt get install VirtualBox. I don't believe that you need to get the extension pack. That I don't believe I did that, and everything worked fine for me. If for some reason it's given you an error, then you may need to get the extension pack. I guess it probably doesn't hurt to get it, so maybe just get it anyway. If you don't need it, whatever, better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. It'll ask, once you do that, it'll ask you for some agreements, and make sure that you're hitting okay, yes, agreeing to all of the licenses and whatnot. And then you get down to the bottom here and it'll say successfully installed VirtualBox extension pack. And at that point, you're good to come back to the guide here. One thing to note with the VirtualBox, my computer was not starting up the virtualization software right away, and that was because in my BIOS I had not enabled virtualization on my motherboard, in my motherboard BIOS, that would allow my computer to like create a virtual machine inside of itself. So I had to actually restart my computer, go into my BIOS, find the little setting that like allows you to do virtualization, and then come back and try and do all this stuff again. So what I'll do now is, I mean, unfortunately, everybody's BIOS is different, just depends on your motherboard. So I'm going to show you what I did, and then I'll show you the article that I looked at to figure out like how to find which setting to switch. But that's going to be on my phone because obviously I can't screen capture it when I restart my computer. So actually Chill told me just to find a little screenshot of it. So this is what I had to do to get to this screen here. And this is just somebody's helpful thread here on enabling virtualization technology. It's like VT-X, or for AMD, I think it's like AMD-V. But you want to come in here, if you're on an Asus motherboard, you want to go to the advanced thing, and then there'll be some a setting here for virtualization technology. You want to make sure that that is enabled and not disabled. Mine was disabled. So then I had to just enable it and then save that and restart my computer, and then we were good to go. But to get to your BIOS, generally you have to restart your computer, and then like right when your computer boots up, there's a little screen with like a logo on it for your motherboard, and it'll tell you like, hey, hit F8 or hit delete or hit F2 or some button on your keyboard to like enter the BIOS or enter enter into the utility, the BIOS utility settings. And then when you do that, you'll get to this screen here that we're showing, and you can go to the advanced tab and then just find something for virtualization technology. If you're on a different motherboard or like a laptop or something like that, you're probably going to have to Google it, and just Google like enable virtualization, or enable virtualization in BIOS for whatever your motherboard, or if you've got like a pre-built computer or a laptop or something, whatever the brand and maybe model number of your laptop is, and then it should tell you how to do this. This was the part that tripped me up the most, because I was sitting here like banging my head against the wall, like, why isn't the friggin', why isn't the virtual machine like starting up? Why is nothing happening? This was why. So yeah, you got to make sure that your computer's allowed to make a virtual machine inside of itself in the BIOS before you can kind of proceed with this installation. So with that out of the way, that's probably the most technically challenging bit of this. So we can come back here to our guide. And okay, so what have we done so far? We've downloaded Whonix, the XFCE version with the graphical interface, and we have installed VirtualBox for Linux. That's been done. We restarted our computer, went in and made sure our BIOS settings allowed virtualization for our computer. And so now we are on to step number 3, importing Whonix into the VirtualBox. And so we have on the right hand side here this little expand button. They ask you to click that for Whonix VirtualBox import instructions. Please press on expand on the right. Okay, that's what I just did. Thank you. Okay, so let me change my screen share here to the desktop, and Chill, please tell me what are you seeing right now? Can you see our faces on the top right here? Okay, all right, and it probably got a little bit blurrier.
Welcome to VirtualBox.
Okay, cool. Okay, so once you've installed VirtualBox, you'll want to just find it inside your apps. If you're on Linux or on Windows, you can search for it. It should give you a little icon. Same with Mac. When you start it up, you're going to see, so let's see here, I've been cheating a little bit. I actually have already installed Whonix. So that's why you're seeing the gateway and the workstation here. But you're going to see just something that looks like tools. That's, the screen that we're seeing here. So the very first thing that you're going to want to do is to click on File, which is right here. And then you're going to do Import Appliance. And we're going to get a virtual appliance from our local file system. And then we're going to hit this little button here on the right, choose a virtual appliance file to import. And then we're going to go and that OVA file that you downloaded from the Whonix website, just say Whonix XFCE. I'm on 16.0.3.1 is my version as of November here. And you just click on that and import it into Whonix. You can click on next, and don't worry about changing any of this stuff. Just click on import, and it will give you this little thing. You've got to agree to their license and their software and all that stuff. And then once you do that, it'll actually start importing. I'm not going to hit the agree button here just because I've already imported it, but you would just hit the little green check mark here that says agree, and then it would start importing itself. The next step after that, and this takes a little while. And these steps here are basically just telling you what I just told you. Appliance to import, find that OVA file. Don't change anything, just click on import, press on agree, and then you'll get this little status bar that'll tell you how long it's been, or the progress that it's having for importing. I have a fairly fast computer. It took like 30 seconds for me. If you have an older vegetable potato computer, like Jill was saying, that it might take a little bit longer. But it was fairly quick. And I don't have like a crazy computer. I just have a decently recent one. So it didn't seem like it was super resource hungry, at least at this point. So we imported that. So now at this point, you will have two little, if you come back here to the virtual machine, you're going to have two new appliances. You're going to have the gateway and you're going to have the workstation. And that's kind of what the guide here is showing us. The first thing you're going to want to start is you always want to start the gateway first, because like Chill was saying earlier, that's literally your gateway to the internet. So you want to make sure that the gateway, which is like preventing your IP leakage and other, keeping your data private, is up and running before you start the actual like workstation environment, like your desktop that you're going to be doing your stuff in. So start the gateway. Once I had hit start on this, it took about 15 minutes because it had to update itself. It does like an initial check to make sure everything is working correctly. And then when it's done with that check, usually there's some updates, and so it gives you a little command to enter into the terminal on here, and then you enter that little command in, it downloads its updates and installs them, and then the gateway is ready to go. And then once that's done, you can come and start the workstation. And you literally just click on whichever one of these and then click on start, and they start right up. And then just let them do their initial startup thing, and they'll probably say, hey, everything went well, there's some updates, enter in this command to do your updates. Apparently there are also video tutorials. I didn't see this. I probably should have checked those out, because I think a video tutorial is a lot. Obviously, I think a video tutorial is a lot easier than the text documentation as we're like walking you through this. But if for some reason what I'm saying isn't working for you, check out these video tutorials. But this is just my experience with it. We had at this point, we have got both of these in. We've hit start on the gateway. I'll do that right now. It's just the little screen that comes up. And I just let it load itself in. You just want Whonix. So yep, this is the gateway. Boop, boop. You can see this, right, Chill? I'm not just like talking to myself.
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay, good. Okay. Let's
I
see
don't
here.
mind if you make the
Oh boy, it's
screen a
freaking
little
out.
bit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So this is the gateway. The gateway doesn't really show you anything. Like this is literally the screen for the gateway. I mean, when it's updating itself, you get some like text in here, but when it's on and running, it's just like this gray screen. So I usually just minimize that. Come back here. Now I've got the workstation. I'll click on that. Click on start. And this is actually like my what do I say? This is like my desktop environment. That's the workstation. So we'll give it a sec here. Let this thing boot up.
And what's really cool is that you can have like multiple workstations for
Right.
different things, like maybe crypto for one and maybe something else for another one.
Right, right. And yeah, you see I changed the background on here. But yeah, I am now inside my Whonix operating system, I guess, which is literally just a virtual computer inside of my physical computer. So it's using all of the resources of my computer, but it's kind of in like a sandbox, like a almost an encrypted partition of my hard drive. So everything that's happening in here, for the most part, is contained within this environment, and it's not leaking out to my regular desktop and onto the rest of the world. So that's the big security boost here, privacy boost, is everything is mostly contained within this virtual environment. But I just log onto my computer, and I can get access to all this. I've got a web browser. I think the default one here is Tor for obvious reasons. You've got a whole list of applications. If you click on the little, I don't know what you would call that icon, but it says applications. You come down here, all applications. So all this stuff is installed by default with Whonix, and it's I believe that it's configured like to preserve your privacy, right? Like some of these come pre-configured with like settings that maximize your privacy, which is really
You
cool.
see that Monero wallet?
I do, yeah. So it's a really, I was going to go through this a little bit. So you've got, appearance, application finder, kind of the basic, the basic stuff that most operating systems are going to have. And then we've got like the desktop environment, the display, if we want to change the resolution of the screen, other things like that. We have an Electrum Bitcoin wallet, which is a pretty good open source Bitcoin wallet. We got the file manager here, some firewall settings, and then we've got the GNU privacy assistant. So if you've got GPG keys or whatever, you want to like use those or manage those, there's the little app to do that. I don't know what hex chat is. I'm assuming that's like an encrypted messenger. I haven't really messed with that. KeyPass, that's a password manager, open source password manager. I actually do use KeyPass quite a bit. So it's kind of cool to see that in there by default. Messing with the keyboard, I guess logging out, use the whole application just to log out, which I've never used. The Monero wallet, hell yeah. Oh, what did I do? Oh, did I try to start it?
You got too excited about the
I got
Monero
too
wallet.
excited.
You're like, hell yeah.
What do you mean would you like to register? I don't want to register. All right, what happens if I click yes? I don't know what I did. All right, hopefully all of you who are watching this have already set up a Monero wallet, so I won't go through that for you. But yeah, a lot of cool default applications. The Tor browser, I don't know what the anonymous distribution is. I was just using the web browser, which is also Tor when you click on this. So I don't know what the difference between these two Tor browsers are, but VLC Media Player, that's a good one. And then the terminal. So if you, when you need to enter in your command to do the updates, when it's like, hey, we've got things to update, I think it's like you just enter the command in here and then hit enter from the terminal. And yeah, that's kind of the main bit that I wanted to show everybody. And up here at the top, I've got my Tor browser. I think the default search engine is DuckDuckGo, but I could go to whonix.org here, and it is a little slower because it's Tor, right? It's being bounced around between a bunch of different people's servers. But yeah, this is basically Whonix. I can install try onion. Oh, okay. All right. Sorry. getting distracted here. But yeah, you can pretty much do anything inside this virtual environment that you would do otherwise. I could see myself doing like installing my some of my cryptocurrency wallets on here and like using this virtual machine to like make my sends and do just like transfer my cryptocurrency around. I think that'd probably be a great use case for this. Also, if you're really privacy focused and you want to message people or access a access a Telegram group or Discord group or something, and you want to be doing it from a secure place that's kind of isolated, you could also do that with Whonix. I guess it's changing me to the Whonix Onion website here, although I didn't ask it to. All right, you're getting closed. But yeah, that's pretty much the Whonix overview. The setup a little more technically challenging than I was prepared for. Eventually I got it working, but I had to do some troubleshooting. Hopefully you won't have to. This guide and walkthrough is enough to help you get it done. But yeah, I don't know, Chill, that's probably it, unless there's something else about it you wanted me to
Yes, please. I shared it in Keybase. If you could just end it with that guide on how to do anti-forensics precautions when using Whonix, and just show them which website, then people can actually do some precautions. Because like I said, the only downside with Whonix is that it does leave some traces in the host operating system, but then again, it cannot leak your IP address. So I feel like that's a huge pro.
Gotcha. Okay. So yeah, so Chill, here's the page that you were just referencing. So anti-forensics precautions when using Whonix VMs in live mode. Basically, if you're not on cubes, you've got the option of booting into VM live mode. It's you want to be careful even on trusted systems to prevent leaving traces. Like Linux hosts. If you're on something like Windows or Mac, though, unfortunately that's kind of a lost cause. Like there's going to be a trace that you'll leave behind if you're in live mode here. There's only there so the advantage to using live mode versus host live mode is that you'll get, I guess, selective amnesia for some virtual machines while others remain persistent. So basically some of the things that you do will not leave a trace, even though some other things will. But when you're using this in live mode instead of host live mode, there will be less things that will persist, which could potentially out you or give some of your data to someone you don't want it to. When they're being run as a live system, all the changes are being written to the RAM by default. However, it is possible for that to be bypassed by malware, swap files, core dumps, and other configurations that are in effect. Most of that stuff can be disabled, but again, if you're on Windows or Mac, too bad. This is more for folks who are using kind of like what I did on a Linux machine and then doing a virtual machine inside of that Linux operating system. So yeah, they recommend using read-only hard drive mode and applying full disk encryption on the host computer, and then powering it off when it's not in use. Alternatively, or in addition to the full disk encryption, the entire host operating system, so that'd be like my regular Linux computer, could be run in live mode. This is called host live mode, but it's not. This is your computer is not going to perform as well as it would otherwise. This is just for those people who like really don't want to leave any trace on the host machine. So this is kind of like the power user section is what I would call it. And then yeah, make sure you shut down your computer normally. Remove the machine from the power source by literally pulling out the power plug. In the case of notebooks, the battery should be removed. And if you want to learn a little bit more about that, just cold boot attack defense. So if you're not using your computer, shouldn't be connected to power. regardless of whether it's a laptop or a desktop. And then there's I'm not going to go through all these, Chill, just because they're like kind of really technical. I think it's probably best to just like plug the URL up here. This is just the anti-forensic precautions. If this is something
Yeah,
that is
that's all I wanted
applicable,
to plug.
okay, okay, yeah. If this is something applicable to you, just come to the wiki and check out the documentation here. But yeah, the I just set up the default configuration. It's relatively secure for doing like not super critically, I'm not, my life is not at stake. If someone figures out that it's me, moving some Bitcoin around, like hopefully I'm not going to die because of that. Although, I mean, like it's always possible if somebody wants to rob you, but uh, I'm not like taking this to the max. If you are in that boat, then you got to just read up on the documentation here and figure out how to really lock this down. But it's definitely much, much better than just using your host system. So for like, 20, 30 minutes of setup, I get a super secure environment to do whatever I would like to in. I like that ability. I think that's what most people would probably be using it for. But then if you want to even take it a step further, you can do that. And that's kind of what this page that I'm showing here is for. But yeah, that's about it. I think, right, Chill? I always gotta
Yeah,
check with you because you're
that's all.
okay, good. So yeah, that was our Whonix guide and Whonix explainer. Let us know what your experiences with Whonix are. I mean, I've heard about it, I'm familiar with it. I hadn't actually like set it up and used it and kind of poked around in it until just recently. I'm pretty impressed. It works pretty quickly on my computer. Like I said, I have a decently recent computer. Um, Seems pretty responsive. The only thing was the updates took forever because it's going through Tor, and so like my download rate was like very, very slow, just because of the onion routing. That's my only like complaint, and the BIOS, actually having to do the make that change in my BIOS. Like it's not very clear in their guide, on the website, that like you may need to enable virtualization on your motherboard settings or in your BIOS. So those are my only two complaints, but everything else went pretty smoothly and it's pretty easy to set up like once I got VirtualBox in there. So yeah, I give it I'd say 7.5 out of 10. Well, let's go 8 out of 10 because I like privacy tech. So
I'm wondering why is that every open source guide has just like one little itty bitty thing they miss.
well, I think the stuff I think it changes a lot. Like there's lots of they
Mhm.
do like if it's an active project, which Unix is definitely an active project, there's always updates and fixes and patches and whatnot. And so I think it's like one of those things where, they fix one thing over here and it maybe creates like a new thing over here. And so um it's kind of on us, the users, a little bit to like help them improve it, because it's not that hard to go to the GitHub and make a little pull request or add something. And I'm pretty sure the website for Whonix allows you to just like contribute to it. Like if I go down to the bottom here,
Yeah,
uh
maybe you should definitely mention this.
yeah. So there's like, no, they invite you to, or maybe that was Tails website. um I'm trying to remember here, but yeah, they like yeah, want to improve this page. Help is welcome. Volunteer contributions are happily considered. Read, understand, agree to the conditions for contributions to Whonix, then edit whonix.org front page wiki source code. So I guess it's only for the front page, but I'm pretty sure, that if I took the time to like go through that guide and make some suggestions to it, that would be incorporated. So that's kind of the cool thing and sort of the downside too with like a lot of this free open source software is like the users can really help improve it. And, most of these folks are just like donating their time or kind of altruistically working on this. I mean, I'm sure some of them are paid too. But it's a free service for us, the users. So, we can give back a little bit and help them improve their documentation, which I think I'm going to do, on how to install it. But yeah, that's about all I've got. And I just realized I'm not sharing my screen. So when I'm talking about contributing to the website, you guys aren't seeing any of that, but no worries.
No worries. Thank you for watching, and enjoy Whonix and your Monero wallet.
Later.